Oh, it is good to be back! After 5 long months of waiting, the Power Rangers hiatus period has ended, and now we can get back to the new episodes of Megaforce! Still, after ending on such a high note with Prince Takes Night, I question whether or not the show is able to capitalize on Robo Knight and move into a new direction. But before I get into that, let me first say that Megaforce has a cool new opening, as is the case when you have a new Ranger, and while not much has changed, the new images shown in the opening promise that the show is ready for a new and more exciting chapter, which this episode proves beyond a shadow of a doubt. This episode is titled Man and Machine and opens with one of the head mutants asking a creature called Shadow Serpent, who can steal shadows, freezing its victims, to take care of the Rangers and find Robo Knight's weakness. Shadow Serpent agrees and begins attacking a park, stealing people's shadows. Cut to the Rangers, who in a nice scene are training, before Tensu warns them of the monster attack, saying Robo Knight is already at the park. Robo Knight is investigating the attack, and a nice touch is that during his investigation he asks a child whose parents have been frozen, showing that he has learned a thing or two since the last episode. During his investigation, Shadow Serpent appears, taunting Robo Knight and saying that he will steal everyone's shadow and defeat Robo Knight. Robo Knight wisely stays in the shade before engaging the monster. At that point, the other Rangers arrive, and Robo Knight warns them of the monster's ability before Shadow Serpent turns his attention on the Rangers. After taking a blow from the monster, the Rangers all huddle under the shade of a single tree when Shadow Serpent reveals it's better for them to be grouped together and strikes again. Troy is the first to his feet and attacks the creature so that the others can find cover. While Troy is fighting the monster, Robo Knight prepares his Vulcan cannon to finish Shadow Serpent, but cannot take the shot because Troy is in the way. When Cloud suddenly appears, Shadow Serpent leaves to fight another day, and Robo Knight blames Troy for his escape, saying Troy's compassion makes him weak, and that he will handle the creature himself. Later, Vrock and the other mutants talk, and Shadow Serpent gloats that the Rangers aren't so tough, but Vrock says that the Rangers will figure out how to stop him if given enough time. But Shadow Serpent dismisses the comment, saying he is no brute like Creepox. At the same time, Troy goes to talk to Robo Knight on a rooftop, revealing that he has come up with a plan that involves the Rangers being used as bait for Shadow Serpent so that Robo Knight can finish him off. However, Robo Knight doesn't trust the plan and says that they should work separately to stop Shadow Serpent. Afterwards, at Ernie's, Emma tells Troy that Robo Knight will come around. The next day, Shadow Serpent tries to steal the shadow of a passing train, but the Rangers and Robo Knight are there to stop him. Robo Knight tells the Rangers to stand aside, but Troy says they have a plan, and the Rangers then use their power cards to cloud up the sky. But Shadow Serpent can apparently blast the clouds away and knocks the Rangers back. Seeing that their plan has failed, Robo Knight engages the monster himself, and while he does fare better than the Rangers, he is ultimately taken down. The Rangers head over to protect Robo Knight and charge Shadow Serpent head on. Watching the Rangers fight Shadow Serpent, Robo Knight realizes that like gears in a motor, the Rangers all work together for a common goal. Forming the Mega Blaster, the Rangers try to finish Shadow Serpent off, but not only does he survive the attack, he sends one of his own blasts back at the Rangers. Troy then tells Robo Knight that they're going for his plan, and the Rangers get their shadows taken. But before the monster can eat the shadows, Robo Knight morphs and attacks. Robo Knight is able to beat the creature down and finish him off with the Vulcan cannon. Vrock sends Zombats to make Shadow Serpent grow, and Robo Knight says that together, he and the Rangers can defeat the monster, and all the Zords are called into fight. However, even with the combined strength of both the Gosei Great and Grand Megazords, Shadow Serpent still proves to be too much. The team is then granted a new power card that combines all the Zords to form the Gosei Great Grand Megazord, which is just what they need to defeat the monster. After the fight, Robo Knight admits that since their mission is the same, collaboration may sometimes be necessary, and the episode ends with Robo Knight saying that the Rangers still have a lot to learn, including himself when he says, "Maybe we all do." This episode is very consistent with the last one in that it focuses primarily on Robo Knight's relationship with the other Rangers, and more specifically, his butting heads with Troy. It masterfully creates a conflict between Robo Knight and Troy without making either one of them act out of character. I like how Robo Knight warns the Rangers of the monster instead of telling them to stand aside like before. And the only time he deviates from this is when Troy directly interferes with him stopping the monster. And Troy reacts to Robo Knight's insults the same way he always would, by not letting it bother him and coming up with a plan to stop Shadow Serpent. It doesn't just have him act out of character or even go the Jaden route where he questions his ability as the Red Ranger. No, he takes the insults in and just simply comes up with a plan, making even his characterization consistent with Who's Crying Now. Even the villains are done better in this episode. Since the other mutants are kept largely in the background, the Shadow Serpent is shown more threatening by just how cocky and strong he is. I mean, the Rangers have consistently thrown their best shot at him, and it's only until they actually decide to work together that they're able to defeat the creature. And I really like that idea. Still, the episode isn't perfect. For instance, if Shadow Serpent could just clear up the clouds with one blow, why didn't he just do that earlier when he first fought the Rangers? Or was it just because the clouds were fake and only made by the Rangers that he was able to... You know what, I'm thinking about this too much. Another thing that bothered me is that while it is cool to see the Gosei Great Grand Megazord, it seems to arrive a little quickly. Like Troy said, this is the first time the two Megazords have fought together, and I would have been just as happy with that and could have waited an episode or two before they combined. Still, even with those minor problems, the episode is pretty good. It focuses on the characters throughout, and I'm really digging this new direction that the show is going in. I can only hope that this trend continues and that the next episode will be even better. I'm Nick, aka IronBat1993, and may the power protect you.